In a few minutes, you'll learn how to assemble the frame of a house like this. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks on any plot, with any access and any type of soil. Let's go. We begin by doing geology and geodesy on the site. This is the very first thing you must do before designing. You need to know at what depth the solid soil layers lie, how water saturated the ground is, what the terrain relief is, and where the boundaries of your plot are. We can do the geology and geodesy for you. Then you start the design process. First, a conceptual sketch is created to understand the overall concept of the building, village, and so on. A master plan is made as well. Then the AD and SD projects are developed, and now everything is ready for construction. By the way, we can also design everything for you turnkey. Once the design is complete, you can call us again and we will bring a pile driving machine to install reinforced concrete piles for your project. Why a reinforced concrete pile? It is driven into the ground by a special pile driving machine that is an all-terrain crawler. It can work on any site, even on slopes up to 20 degrees. One pile can bear up to 70 tons of load. And as we see here, the piles are driven according to the terrain, and they have different lengths. Where we need more height, we use, for example, 5-meter piles. Where the ground is higher and dense layers lie closer to the surface, we use 3-meter piles. In general, we adapt the length of the piles according to the geology and geodesy of the site. One machine drives 15 to 20 piles per day, depending on the site conditions. Sometimes, if we need to work very fast, we bring 2 or even 3 pile driving machines to the site. After the pile is driven to refusal, meaning it has reached its maximum bearing capacity, surveyors come, mark the foundation 0 level, lay out the points, and cut off the pile heads. The piles are leveled to 0 so that the entire plane is on the same level. Depending on how high the pile raises above the ground, depending on the soil, the number of floors, and the load, the piles can be like here, 250 by 250 millimeters, or we can make 300 or even 400 piles. Everything is calculated according to your loads. The reinforcement as well. For example, here, standard 13mm rebar is used, but sometimes we manufacture piles with 16 or thicker reinforcement. Then a pile cap is installed on the pile and a metal frame is welded, which provides rigidity to the floor slab and serves as the formwork. Why a floor slab? Because, in reality, the foundation slab does not rest on the ground. The load is carried as if it were a floor slab. This way, you can build structures on soils with any bearing capacity. You can drive a pile to any depth. We've had cases where we drove piles as deep as 27 meters. On top of that, the foundation slab is poured like this. And now, first of all, your slab does not rest on the soft upper soil layer. There is no moisture wicking into the foundation because there is a concrete pile, and the metal acts as waterproofing. Overall, the concrete does not touch the soil at all. A profile sheet is installed on top, it acts as permanent formwork, and then a concrete slab of small thickness from 100 to 150 millimeters is poured over it. And now you have a fully finished foundation on your site. Accessibility doesn't matter because the foundations in this case can be cast with hand-mixed concrete, and all the metal structures can be carried in by hand. The pile driving machine is all-terrain and can access any site. Therefore, this type of foundation can be built on any plot, at virtually any angle up to 20 degrees, and with any soil bearing capacity. And a foundation of this type can be of any size. Here, the area is about 60 square meters, but it can be 1,000, 2,000, or even 5,000 square meters, all built with the same technology. So, the foundation is finished. Next, we need to decide what the structural frame will be made of. Here, it is assembled from a square metal tube with a 100 by 100 millimeter profile with welded flanges, and everything is connected into one structure using bolted joints. Many of the seams are also welded. These columns can also be concrete or monolithic. The technology after that can be any. But when using metal, and if it is properly painted, it becomes a quite durable structure that is assembled very quickly. And most importantly, all of it can be carried by hand onto the site, even if there are no proper access roads. Next, we move on to filling the walls. The walls can be filled either with aerated concrete blocks or with these panels made of cellular concrete. They have calcium boards on both sides. What are the advantages of these panels? First, they are installed really quickly. Second, once they're assembled, they have a perfectly even surface, and you can either putty and paint them or install decorative panels. In general, any finishing material can be used. The assembly speed itself is simply amazing. You don't need to lay block after block, and you don't need to plaster everything afterward. You quickly assemble the panels. They use a tongue and groove system, and then you do the exterior finishing. This way, such a building can be constructed in a record 2 weeks. Also, if you have a steep slope and the house stands slightly higher, for example, at a height of 1.5 or even 2 meters, the space under the house can be used as a technical area. You can place all the air conditioning units there, as well as all the engineering systems, which significantly simplifies the installation of utilities on the site. On this exact project, we only did the pile driving work. All other work was done by the client separately. But as a group of companies, we can design everything, do the geology, geodesy, drive piles, build foundation, install metal frame, manufacture panels, install them, do interior and exterior finishing, and deliver the entire project turnkey. In general, one such house can be built in 2 weeks. We're talking about the structural frame. After that, everything depends heavily on the finishing, so the timeline becomes harder to predict. But I want to say that this is an excellent way to build small structures on any type of foundation, without increasing the cost due to complicated earthworks. Overall, we handle all types of work ourselves, without involving external companies. Call us, we will be happy to deliver your project at any scale.